I'm actually super excited to make this video because ever since Google Sheets rolled out tables, they've really changed the way that I configure spreadsheets. And one of the main reasons why I completely changed the way I look at spreadsheets is because it's super easy now to organize your data, visualize your data, and be able to use name ranges and table references to build your formulas. And in a nutshell, it just saves a whole bunch of time and effort to do things that you previously had to do the long way. And now it just takes a few seconds to do. With everything, there's pros and there's cons. So there's a lot of pros for tables, and that's why I use them consistently. There is a few cons that really affect me and my day-to-day work that I hope that Google will fix later on, so I'm gonna go over those too. So without further ado, let's dive in. So there's a few ways that you can add a table to your spreadsheet. All are very, very simple. The first way is you can add a pre-built table. Now, when you open up a spreadsheet, it will automatically default to the right side. If it doesn't, or if you already have a spreadsheet open, you can simply go to Insert, Tables, and now you'll see that default section right here. So you can enter a blank table if you want to, or you can do any pre-built tables. So let's say, for example, I want to have a customer relations and I want to see a customer opportunity relationship owner. All I have to do is highlight it and press Insert. And now I can exit out of this table editor. And now I have a bones of a table already built for me without having to do any customizations. Now, obviously, depending on what your position is, what you do for work, and what the task at hand is, you're probably going to have to make some sort of customizations. But if you have the bones of it, it just makes it a little bit easier. So up here, you can name it whatever you want. I recommend naming this something simple. So let's just name this relationships. Now, the reason why this is important is because once we build formulas later on, you'll be able to reference these different table, and you'll be able to reference the different columns within that table. So you want it to actually mean something, otherwise it'll be a little bit more tricky to reference. Now you can see right here, it has opportunity over and over and over again. You can type over this, so let's say test, and then it will remove the opportunity and it will put the information that you actually care about. But let's say that you don't want to have this opportunity repeated. All you have to do is go to Edit Column Type and uncheck Show Placeholders, and that will give you a blank column instead of having to repeat. Now, there's different types of columns. So if I want to go here, I can go to Edit Column Type, and you have numbers, so I can put this as a number, a percent, or a currency. The currency is obviously going to default to the currency that your location is in. You can have text, so this is just a plain text. We have dates, so you have date, date time, and time. We have drop down, so if you select this, you can create a drop down, or you can create a drop down from a range. We have a checkbox, so you can simply make that a checkbox. You can also do smart chips. You can see over here to the right, this one's actually a named smart chip. So for example, I have Not Sheets by Olin, and instead of just having the email, I have the smart chips, so I can see the name of the person, I can see the email, in different detail views and things like that. Keep things nice and clean. And you can add different types of chips as well. So let's say instead of having the relationship owner here, we want to have a file. So we're actually going to link the spreadsheet or the document or whatever else that's in your Google Drive directly to this, and it's a nice little chip. So that way it doesn't just have a URL, it has details about the file name and things like that instead. And you can see a little preview of it as well. And with other smart chips, you can do finance. So this is stocks and things like that. You can do a place, you can actually tag a location, and then whenever you click on that location, it will open it up in Google Maps. And you can do a rating. So let's say I want to have a rating, I can do a drop down that's 0 through 5 stars to actually rate something. And lastly, you can do none. So if you select none, there will not be any formatting that's custom. So if you want to have a column that has mixed formatting, so for example, it could have a number in one row, it could have a text in one row, you'll want to select none, otherwise you'll get an error message saying that it does not fall within the right type. So as I mentioned, if you select a pre-built option, these are already configured for you. But let's say some of them are configured, some of them aren't in the way that you want it. It's super easy to change. All you have to do is just select whatever you want. So let's say instead of a currency, I want this to be a percent. Now it's a percent. Let's say I don't want to see those X's. I can uncheck Show Placeholders and go from there. So super easy to configure. And you have more configuration options inside of the table menu. So you can click on this little caret going down. You can rename the table right there instead of typing it in. You can adjust the table range. So let's say instead of going through column G, you want to go through column H instead. You can simply update the range and it will add as many columns as you want. Alternatively, you can simply click the little plus button as many times as you want, and that will add the columns as well. You can turn off the alternating colors. So you can see right here, it's super easy to read between the different colors. If you don't want that, simply toggle it off. And you can change the header color. So let's say I want this to be a green instead. I use this all the time to be able to show which tables are good, which tables are bad, or whatever color coordination I want to do that has meaning. You can revert to an unformatted table or delete the table altogether. So that's the basics of the table configuration. All you have to do is import the table, select whatever column types you want, make it look however you want, set the colors, and you're pretty much good to go. There is a lot more that you can do with tables though, so make sure to stick around. And I'm going to show you how to convert a data set that's already in your spreadsheet to a table to be able to do the exact same thing. But I'm going to show you a lot more to do as well. So for example, right here, we have our data set. And if I click into this down here at the bottom, it says convert to table. The reason why that's there is because I have Google Gemini for Workspace on my computer. If you don't have that, it's probably not going to be there. So all you have to do is click into it, go to Format, Convert to Table, or you could use the hotkeys Command Option T. And once you do that, it will do the same exact thing. It will convert it to a table. By default, it will give it a generic name. So let's say I want this to be Sales Q4 2024. So now I have the region. Right now there is no specific type, but if I wanted to, I could change this to text. I have the associate, same deal. I could change this to text, or I could do a drop down or whatever I want to do. You can see by this icon that these are all currencies. And then lastly right here, this is also set to a currency, but since it's so small, it hid the icon. All right, so what's cool about this is you can actually do saved views. So if I want to, I can click and I can group views by different ways. So let's say I want to group it by region. I can click the region, and now it's going to show every single associate based off of what region they are in. So that makes it super simple to really group things together and visualize things in a way that is not really organic to the actual spreadsheet without having to change the spreadsheet configuration. By default, it's a temporary group. So if I exit out of this and I don't save it, you'll be able to see that temporary group right here. But if I refresh the page, then the temporary group is gone. So instead, what you can do is you can click on region, you can go to save view, and you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and leave this as group by region. So now I have that saved view. So I can go ahead and exit out of this, go back into it and have this group by region. Now, if it's refreshed, you'll still see group by region. Now let's say you don't want to see the east or the west. All you're focused on for your position is the north and the south. You can simply update this right there. Now, once it's saved once, you don't have to save it again. In my opinion, this is a huge con because I want to be able to save it, have a view, be able to manipulate the data, and then not have it save. I want it to save as a temporary thing and then go back. But if I exit out of this here and then go back into it, now I only see north and south. So it's fine in theory, but if you're working with a bunch of different people, they're trying to look at different things on their end. They physically have to use different views. Otherwise, if you're trying to look at a group of people, let's say Mark Davis is in here, and then he wants to filter just Mark Davis. So he'll go in here, filter just Mark Davis to see just him throughout the crowd, exit out, and then let's say that somebody else wants to go in there, they're not able to do that. So instead, they have to go and change things directly. So that's pretty annoying in my opinion. Hopefully Google fixes that in the future to allow people to save and create temporary views within save views. It's still a relatively new feature, so we'll see how it goes. But all in all, not a deal breaker. It is what it is. And you can also create different types of filter views that are not just group views. So for example, I can click here and go to create filter view. And then I can filter just like normal. And I want to see anybody that has a Q4 total that's above 20,000, for example. So I'm going to go to greater than or equal to 20,000 and hit OK. So now I can see everybody that's above 20,000 very simply. And you can combine the two types of views as well. So for example, let's go back in here and I'm going to create a group view by region. And then I'm going to filter this by 20,000. So let's say greater than or equal to 20,000. And hit OK. So I'm going to go ahead and save this view. I'm going to say Q4 total is greater than 20K by region. I'll save that and now we can exit out of that. So I can go right here to see Q4 totals grouped by region, or I could go right here to see grouped by region without any filters for the total. So you can kind of mix and match to play around with things. Now, what's cool about this is you can reference the column within the formula. So for example, let's say on a different tab, we want to have every single associate and we want to extract the Q4 totals. Instead of copying and pasting, we can simply go to a different tab. Now in this spreadsheet, let's go ahead and put unique. And now instead of going back to the sales results, we can simply type in the name of the spreadsheet. So we have the whole spreadsheet right here, all, region, total, and so forth. So I want to see the associate. So now I have all of the different associates that are on this list without having to actually go back and forth between the different tabs to select the range itself. Best of all, if I go down to the bottom, I can put another associate, and since it's part of that table automatically expanded, and it was able to add that associate automatically to our new range. Now this also works in other formulas. So for example, if I want to do an XLOOKUP formula, I can look up John Smith, and then once again, I can type in the name range. And you don't have to reference the table, you can reference the column instead. So let's type in associate. So even though I didn't type in sales Q4, I typed in associate, so it's still flagged. I'll put a comma, and I want to return the total. So I'll go ahead and put Q4 total by typing in total and pressing enter. I'll go ahead and autofill, and now I have the Q4 totals for every single one of these without ever leaving this tab. And this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say I changed the way I configure spreadsheets, because now instead of having to go back and forth between different tabs, I can simply reference tabs. I can reference tabs from other spreadsheets, bring them in. Everything is nice and simple and straightforward. So like I said, it's super easy to use. You can build formulas based off of table references. You can make different columns, different types to make things nice and clean. You can create different saved views, and you can color code different things very easily. So all in all, it's a great tool, and if you don't use it yet, you will soon. I highly recommend it. As I mentioned, there are some cons though. So as I mentioned, the first one is that if you make changes to a saved view, those changes also save within that saved view, even if you don't save it again. I hope that Google fixes that soon, because I think that's probably the biggest issue within tables at this moment. Now I'm going to go to a different spreadsheet. This is my task tracker that I use at work, just to have an example. So for example here, I'm going to group by task focus. Now, just like you saw before, this goes by task focus. So we have 1 enablement task, 3 hygiene, 1 improve profitability, and so forth. Now this task tracker has an automation piece. At work, I don't want to have a whole bunch of completed tasks that are cluttering up my screen. So I have an automation piece where whenever I mark it as done, it removes entirely from this list and goes to the bottom of my done tab. However, as you can see here, now it's out of sync because it automatically got deleted from that list. So this isn't a problem only with automation. If it gets deleted entirely, then it will also be an issue. So if a tab gets deleted while it's in that save view, it will become misaligned. Now, sometimes it will alert you that the group is out of sync. You can simply click refresh and then it will refresh it, but that's not always the case. Another thing that's really a minor inconvenience for most of the time, but it does have a major impact other times, is that you can't embed a formula into the header. So for example, if I go to my Done tab, I have everything in my header. And the reason why this is super important, and it has to be this way, is because once that task moves from the task list and moves to the bottom of this Done tab, it will overwrite anything that's currently there. So instead, I have everything in this one cell that executes for the entire column. And what this does is it simply looks at the date that the task was completed, and it extracts the Monday of that week, so that way everything is broken up by the week that it starts for my visualizations later on. Once again, it's not a big deal for most of the time, but it does have a time and a place where you have to have the formula in the header. Otherwise, it's not going to work the same way. Now for the next hurdle, I'm simply going to copy some information from here over here. So now you can see we have some alternating rows already set up. If I try to turn this into a table, I'm going to click on that, go to convert from table. And it's going to give you an error message saying that you can't convert an alternating color range without a header format into a table. So if you ever run into this problem, simply highlight the range, go to format, clear formatting, and then you'll be able to highlight that into a table. Super simple. All right, so those are the pros and cons of using tables. Like I said, overall, very, very good update from Google. Very happy with it. There's a ton of good use cases. It makes life a lot easier when it comes to building formulas. It probably has saved me hours of work so far, and it's super easy to visualize different things. There are those cons that I highlighted in this video. I hope Google will fix those over time. But in a nutshell, that's how it works. So whether it's a pre-built template that you're using, or it's something that you're converting from scratch and making your own, once you try out the new table feature, you'll get used to it so quickly. I'm not even kidding. Just try, practice a little bit, and you'll be good to go. As always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button for my next video. If you're randomly stumbling upon this, my name's Olin. I post all things Google Sheets, so follow along for hacks, tips, tricks, templates, tutorials, and so forth.